have guessed, I'm going to be talking about musical instruments today and why you should definitely play them. And I took a survey a couple weeks ago about just to gain a little bit of knowledge about your musical experience. And out of the 14 people in this class, 12 whom actually took the survey, 100% of you said that music was beneficial to your brains. But something was a little off about the next statistic. As I moved through the survey, less than half of you actually still play your instrument, even though it's good for you. Why? I don't understand. So we're going to talk a little bit about why people don't play, the benefits to playing an instrument, and 3 easy steps that can get you to an instrument in no time. So the first reason, and the primary reasons that people don't play instruments, are the time and money that goes into it. Learning an instrument takes a lot of time. You have to take the lessons, you have to practice daily. Mark Nyworth, a Steinway artist, meaning he only plays on Steinways when he plays concerts or in symphonies, etc. Mark Nyworth said that you have to practice every day. Coming from a guy who practiced 4 hours a day in high school while keeping up his grades, I don't know how does this not make sense? I mean, you don't have to practice 4 hours a day, but 20 minutes a day, you can handle that. And 20 minutes a day is going to improve any student. So the next thing is that there's a lot of money that goes into this. A grand piano previously used was on sale for $20,000. Now, to get a bit of a comparison, I was gonna look up how many donuts you could buy with that much money, but I don't think my thighs could handle that many. So instead, I looked up something more practical. How much it would be in comparison to buying a house. So I looked up the 10 houses sold in Soda Springs, Idaho, and averaged them. And that came out to about $182,000. So that's buying the whole house at once. So Jennifer Rudden from Statista.com said that in 2019, the average down payment for a house was 20%, was less than 20%. So let's say our down payment is 15%. That's gonna be $27,000. That's a lot. Buying a used grand piano is almost as much as putting a down payment on a house. A house! That's expensive. Not a lot of people want to deal with buying expensive instruments or paying for the lessons. Lessons can range from $8 to $50, which adds up in a year. Here are a couple inexpensive instruments. Alternatives, that's the word, that you can look for. I'm not going to go through them because I don't have time, but another reason that people don't play is, like Mark Oppenheimer says, a journalist for the newrepublic.com talks about the uselessness of learning an instrument. He talks about how people shouldn't be spending their time on learning these instruments, where, especially in the more classical region, where they could be spending elsewhere. So he says that he asked a bunch of adults at a party he went to if they still played their instruments, and not surprisingly, none of them played. He said that you should actually just go play a guitar and at summer camp rather than play a violin concerto. But what Mark Oppenheimer doesn't know is that there are a lot of benefits. There are, Dr. Timo Krings talks about the motor skills and which are just, dang it, I gotta reorganize this a little bit. About motor skills being benefited by playing an instrument. Motor skills are things such as, dang, I really gotta organize that. As playing video games or picking up a pencil, typing, just stuff like that with your fingers. And playing an instrument will help you work on that. Another thing is that your social life is increased. Levi, the chief editor at joytunes.com, talks about an increased social group when you play instruments. And who knows, if you play the drums, maybe you'll even get a workout in. John Rampton, don't remember the quote from him, and then Jordan Taylor Sloan talks about how different musicians, specifically pianists, how they are different from regular people. Jordan Taylor Sloan goes on to talk about studies done about the brain. And in your brain, there's a part that determines whether you're right-handed or left-handed. In most people, that part is deepened either on the right side, making you a right-handed person, or on the left side, making you a left-handed person. This is kind of interesting in pianists because pianists' brains are fairly symmetrical in that part, making them ambidextrous, which is really cool. Scientists have learned that this is not something they're born with, but something they learn through the piano. Because as I have learned, and those of you who learned piano growing up, you have to have pretty good dexterity in your left hand. Is that the right word? In your left hand to match your right hand, you have to be able to play well with your left hand. Anna Pino talks about the frontal lobe and its association with problem solving, data processing, and creativity. Playing piano helps that portion of your brain grow. I mean, instruments. How much time am I at?
9 minutes.
Okay. I'm gonna talk about my brother for a second. I interviewed my mom about him. So my brother Dallin was in a car wreck when he was 21. He had to be cut out by the jaws of life from the door. The car hit him, T-boned his car, going 50 miles an hour. He had multiple lacerations all over his body. His collarbone was broken. One of his lungs was collapsed, and he had to have heart surgery, and he had a major concussion, where his frontal lobe was damaged. But after months, he still wasn't really improving. His mental capacity wasn't improving, and he couldn't quite get back to normal. His frontal lobe wasn't repairing itself. So my parents took him to a psychiatrist that is trained specifically for head trauma, and that psychiatrist told my parents to get him back into school, get him playing hard, difficult music, and get him into dance courses. This music helped improve his brain, and since his brain was not fully developed when he had the crash, he was able to help his brain heal through the music and through playing. So now, how can you guys get all of these benefits? Like, there are so many benefits. How can you get them? Well, I want you to get a paper out. And I want you to go get a paper, go to your room. I'll wait. Okay, are you back? If you haven't moved, I'm assuming you have paper. Good for you. So the first thing you'll need to do, these are the things you need to write down. The first thing you'll need to do is to pick your instrument. Choose what one calls to you, plays your song, literally. And then you're gonna wanna find a teacher. Word of mouth is my favorite, but you can find it on online subscriptions, apps, stuff like that. And then you're gonna have to find time every day to practice your instrument. Like I said before, learning takes time, and through time, maybe a long time for some of you, your talent will blossom.
Like the cooking mom.
Shut up. Okay, These are the reasons why everyone should play piano. I mean, an instrument. Some people might say it's not worth it and that you shouldn't do it. But the reasons I've explained to you today means that it is worth it and you should go do it. Now you know how to get started. You know what to do. Now go start.